Back once again with the Premier League season reviews, drilling these out as much as I can. And today we've got Brighton. We're really getting up the table now. The team that finished in 8th place last season, and the second team that we're going to be looking at who have got European Football Conference League next year for Brighton. It's a great chance at a trophy. I can't personally remember last time they won a trophy outside of the Championship title. I don't know if they have. Brighton fans, educate me, feel free, whatever. But yeah, this is a really, really decent result for them. Getting back into Europe after a few years of well, they were in Europe when we got in there as well. When we got into Conference League, they got Europa League, but they dropped a little bit, hovering in and around, your top of the mid table almost. Don't know where I can see their previous finishes, but I don't care about that at this point. Oh, fucking hell, what am I doing? But yeah, this is how it's looking for Brighton going into next season, and I will get straight into the review right now. Their season started pretty unremarkably, from what I can work out here. I remember this win against City was great. Really good work. Gruder scoring in the last minute. I remember that was a really good result. But outside of that, it was kind of all right. There was nothing really like you're beating good teams down here, but it kind of started off fairly sluggishly in a way. Struggled to get a bit of good form going together. Losing to United, this was a bit of a poor one. I remember this game, yeah, and Buemo doing a most. This Costu last goal was pretty decent from off the top of my dome, but yeah, it wasn't majorly special. Decent little run going in here. This was a great game. I fucking love this game, and I miss you to this day, my dog. But yeah, that was such a weird game. That was really nice finish. That was Van Hecker as well. But yeah, just struggled to get a decent run going. Started to slow a little bit down here. It took them a while to get back into winning ways, back into the new year. Decent result here against City again, and this kind of run. I remember at the time, when it was close, they dropped down to like 14th, and they were only about 9, 10 points out of the relegation zone, and we were all going, oh, could they, could they? I remember that happening for quite a lot of teams. That happened for Newcastle, that happened for Palace, that happened for Bournemouth off the top of my head. Obviously, teams at your Foresty leads that around in and around that for the whole time. But I remember that pretty vividly, actually. And then yeah, his loss at home was and we should have had a penalty in that game. I remember that. But yeah, they strung this run of form together, but then they turned it around like really, really well, and they put together this end of season run here. This was while teams like Everton were still up and in the race, and they're beating. I mean, this is a difficult game in here. Like these two games back to back, Sunderland away at the Stadium of Light, and then Liverpool at home. It's not easy stuff, man. Welbeck was on fire. I remember that stuff. I was at the pub actually. I was working for that one. This game was weirdly like because both of these teams were in such different form at this point. Like Newcastle had lost quite a few games, and Brighton obviously you're in the. I mean, losing to Arsenal is fair enough. Like you can't complain about that. But they're in this really really decent run of form at the time, and then they go and lose 3-1, and quite a weird one as well. Beating Wolves was an important one just to keep the points going, and then they lost to Leeds away in the 96th minute. And I remember that was a mistake from Van Hecker, I think. And this game here at home on the last day of the season to Man United, um, losing this game was could have been a lot worse for them because if you look at this here, they were they were in Europe on goal difference. If Brentford got their stuff together, I mean, in any of the if they beat Palace here, if they could hold on to Liverpool, it would be such a different story for the two clubs going into next season. I mean, even like a draw there pushes you up above Sunderland as well, gives you into Europa League football, gets you so much more security. And I kind of think that with the way that they finished those last two games of the season with this mistake, I think they got away with one ever so slightly. I'm not taking away from them at all because their performance was great. Like they definitely deserve to be in Europe. I'm not doubting that for a second. With the way that they were playing football at times, Herzl got them into a really good way of life at the time. But yeah, they did have to scrape it a little bit. It's going to be a 7 out of 10 for me on the performance for Brighton. You kind of expect them to be in and around this ninth, 10th, 11th. kind of place. They've had a good season, obviously capitalising on the poor form of some of the teams there, but they had poor form themselves, so it swings and roundabouts really. But I think you can really take pride in this season here for Brighton. They've got themselves back up. They've done some good business, got themselves back up in here. I mean, you can see the run of form they went on the end to recover from the poorish winter months. Struggle to put a run of games together here in the December kind of time, February as well. So they dragged themselves really back up from this run of form. I think it's what, one league win it from December to uh, end of Feb, which isn't really what you need if you're chasing for Europe. But then they switch it on straight away, and I think they've done a really good job there to drag themselves back up from kind of mid-table, languishing in the kind of Newcastle, Everton kind of place where they are at the moment. So I'm going to start with the departures here for Brighton because the big one was Pedro. Obviously, a big old fee on the boy there. This is what they do. They flip those players for profit. Brought him in from Watford. He's gone to Chelsea now. Um, it was going to happen, I think. He was a young, pretty promising Brazilian lad. He was always going to get a move. Adingra here, I thought was an interesting decision at the time. I thought he had a lot more to offer than he had shown or had been given the opportunity to show at Brighton. But since his move to Sunderland, it hasn't worked. Um, he hasn't performed very well for Sunderland this season, and for me, I think it was a good move. I think to get 24 million out of him, I don't know what they signed him for. If I can find that out now, that would be great. Where is it when it loads? They signed him for 28 million. Okay, so they did lose a little bit of money on him there. Um, but I mean, to get 24 out of him after not performing fantastically, I think that's all right. I think he did show glimpses, and I did quite like him, but I think it's time to cut ties. Estupinian out as well. This is an interesting one. I very much like Estupinian as a player, and I think I like him a lot more when he comes to Villa Park. Come on, the boy. But yeah, 17 million for him. I think that's not fantastic. I think they could have done a bit better there. Barco and Ciso all out, and Ciso will be going to Chelsea. I like him, man. I don't know why they've let him go. For 9 million, I think he's better than that. Like you could have used him. I think he could have definitely offered something there. Seema, don't not that arsed. Lamptey is finally left. They finally ended that little go around. It's just a shame, man. He was really good back in the lockdown kind of days, and Ferguson obviously out on loan as well. For the incomings, don't think they did that well. Kostulas is young, definitely one for the future. Showed glimpses, but the fact that they still had to run with Welbeck for so long for me implies that he didn't do as well as they thought he would. De Kuyper's good. Big fan of De Kuyper. Watson, again, one for the future, didn't really get involved too much. Coppola didn't really do much. Boscagli didn't really do much. These are good backup options. Coppola, I think, is he left or is leaving? I'm not sure about that one. Um, but yeah, he's obviously a young player, but like he's not really done. He's not really been given much of a chance to shine, and you'll see with the players they brought in recently. I don't think he really will. Gross was a fantastic bit of business to get him back in for 2 million quid. Apologies, getting him back in for 2 million quid after letting him go not that long ago. He was really good in the second half of the season. Slotted straight back in, was absolutely seamless. Bit of an older head back in amongst those younger boys. It's going to be a 6 for me for Brighton. I don't think it's that bad. It's kind of average in the sense that you've lost players you expected to lose, and you've kind of brought in decent players, but some of them have been a little bit hit or miss. I think De Kuiper's been great. Like I'm not gonna get that twisted. 24 years old, he would have signed 20 million euros only. That's a great bit of business for me. Um, and especially as well with Gross, 2 million quid. He'll retire there, do his coaching badges and stuff. Costulas going forward could be good, but I mean, I'm not seeing enough from Watson, Costulas, Coppola to really say that yes, these are good signings at the moment. So it is going to be a 6. The big one for next season, obviously, is Van Hecker. 60 million euros for the geezer. and he's gone to Spurs. That's a big loss. Well, I say loss. It's a big hole in the defence that they have to replace. We'll see in a second who it's done with, but that will make a difference. That will obviously impact the club a little bit. He's been probably one of their best players, definitely their best defender for the last few seasons. Cutting down some of the deadwood as well. That's fair enough. Solly March finally leaves the club. Veltman Webster been there for ages. Sarmiento as well. I quite liked him when he was younger, but not capitalising his promise. So yeah, Van Hecker is the big departure, but I think it's fine because they're replacing with Vuskovic. Um, for me, that is a fantastic bit of business. He is the talk of the town at the moment in the centre back market, and he's gone. He's come back in, and he could be a proper option. They've signed Struijk as well, who for me that's quite a good bit of business. He's a decent player. Good. Who have they got next to Van Hecker at centre back? Who played the most for Van Hecker at centre back? Dunk. Yeah, okay, that's for me. That's fine. Dunk's getting on a little bit. Struijk, 26, can slot in, can do a job. Kind of reduce the game time on Dunk there. Kind of means that there isn't as much pressure on him there to play loads of games. I don't know who. Svoboda. I think I played against him in FM and he was extremely unremarkable. Rodrigo Rego, young player, fair enough. Where's Gilberto Mora, man? Get on that. But this guy, I've never heard of in my life. Zadok Johanna. He must be the guy they're touting to replace Minter. Um, is it his first professional season in football? And he's played 13 games in the Allsvenskan. Might be. Look, man, he's going to be good. They always are when Brighton sign him. They're always good. He's going to be good. The main thing for me that I do have to worry about is Minter leaving. If I go to the squad here for Brighton, I'll go through the rest of the team in a little bit. But where is he? Yankuba Minter is the big one. He is for me their best player, and for me last season was their best player. This doesn't look remarkable. 3 goals, 4 assists, but he played well in almost every game that I watched of him. Um, had a bit of an injury mid-season, kind of took him a little bit of time to get back into the team. But yeah, for me, he is that guy. If I was Liverpool, I wouldn't be hesitating the slightest. This would be the guy for me. Obviously, I think Ndiaye should go there as well, but I don't think that will happen. Yeah, and Kuba Minter for Liverpool for me is the way. Um, so when I look at Johanna, I kind of assume he's going to be Minter's replacement or Minter's understudy in case Minter goes next year because they've got European football. So that's a big pulling factor. European football is that'll keep that'll do a bit of job at keeping Minter at the club. Hasn't I don't think he might have played Europe at Feyenoord, but yeah, to get in Europa Conference League, chance to win a trophy, give your Hannah a season to develop under Minter, that will be dandy. Now, where am I going? Here. Hertzler, fantastic gaffer. I think he's a real, like, I think this guy is one of the best young coaches in the game, man. I said it about Xabi Alonso, but I definitely also think about it for Herster. I think he's kind of shaken the hippie shtick that the hipster kind of shit that he got from being so young. I think he was at St. Pauli before, but I think he's a great player. Verbruggen has to start every game next season. I don't know why they rotate so much between Steele and Verbruggen. Verbruggen's a better keeper. That's just that. Costinha's come in as a right back option. I don't know a lot about him. I wasn't a big fan of Weaver last year. I thought he went a bit missing in some games, and he was susceptible to a bit of a mistake. But in other games, he scored. I remember a brace he scored, and he did really grow into the season for me. Maybe Costinha's there as a backup, or they see something in him as a option, as a main kind of starting player. But then also, I think these two on as fullbacks were just so much better. De Kuyper and Kadioglu, I think for me, just did the absolute business. But yeah, this squad is starting to fill out a little bit now. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 centre backs in there. For me, it's clear that they are planning for Europe. I wouldn't be surprised maybe if Coppola or Boss Cagley do go. They didn't get a lot of game time last season, I believe. Um, yeah, Coppola actually going out on loan after only featuring 9 times across the season. Boss Cagley, I believe, not doing too much better. 17 times featured across the season. Only 12 in the Prem as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if one of those go. I think Igor Julio will go after his loan with Man United, I believe he was at. Um, but yeah, they have quite a decent squad. I can't lie. I don't actually hate this team. I think they've got a really good young midfield core. I like Baleba, obviously off the back of a poor year. But I love Ayari. I'm such a massive fan of this guy. I mean, you can see how on here his market value was just shot up. But I think he's top. I think he'll go right to the top. I do like Matt O'Reilly. Didn't feature obviously last season, like anywhere near enough. Going out on loan and stuff like that. Hinchelwood, great option. I love Diego Gomez. I'm a massive fan of this guy. The fact that he's only valued at 3.5 million here is a fucking disgrace. I can't really pick out one individual area of this team to improve. I think it's a very well balanced, well rounded team overall. They've got a lot of. They're obviously harvesting a lot of these younger options here. So they've just signed obviously Johanna. They've got Minter in there. Got Watson. Matoma's obviously not younger, but what they'll do with Ferguson will be interesting. Got Seamas kicking about in here as well. It's difficult. It's difficult for me to pick out somewhere to improve. If I had to choose one, man, I really don't know. I'll go attacking midfielder. Did Gruder go out on loan last season? Yeah, he did. I thought so. So, I'm going to go attacking midfielder. I think there's a reason they sent Gruder out on loan. Maybe they're buttering him up to get more game time and sell on soon. I'm not a big fan of Ruter, and I don't think he gets game time in behind Welbeck, Costulas, or Seamas here. Maybe even Ferguson. It depends what they do with Ferguson. I like Diego Gomez, but he's been played out wide a lot. And I'm a fan of Hinchelwood, but I don't think he can consistently. I don't think he'll be consistent enough in the attacking midfield role. I do like him as a player, and I think he will get a lot of game time. But I think you might just need to go big on an option there. Obviously, if Minter goes, you've got to replace him with someone significant. Depends what the deal with Johanna is. But for me, if I had to pick one, it's attacking midfield. I don't like to do that though. In this particular instance, I don't think there's really any weak spot here. It's a very well-rounded side. The positions that I would have said you need to improve on, well, they've already signed Vuskovic, they've already signed Strick, they've got they've got options coming in here. They've got a backup right winger here, Johanna. They've signed this Rego kid. We'll see what goes on with him. I say kid, he's 2 years older than me, but you know. But yeah, they have bolstered out the back of the back line a lot. They've got Evan Ferguson back in. I would like to see him get some game time, you know. But yeah, for me, I'm going to give them an 8 going forward for next season. Fantastic gaffer, very well-rounded squad, European football, and they have a very, very good chance of winning a trophy. Crystal Palace won it the season before. If they don't win it, it'll be a bit embarrassing from a rivalry-ish perspective. So for me, it's all on Brighton to win that. This is how they fare compared to the rest of the league. They have 8 out of 10. They are the second, no, 7 out of 10. They are third on performance. They are just behind Brentford because I think it was more of an achievement from a Brentford perspective getting into that 9th place. Palace obviously with a trophy. Transfers, you're down here. 4th place, but prospects, you're right up there. Just behind Palace, based purely on the fact that Palace have Europa League football. But then you sign Vuskovic as well, so it's a bit of a weird one there. But yeah, it's looking good over on the South Coast. So yeah, Brighton fans, I think you're going to have a season to remember next year. And thank you very much for watching the video, boys. Enjoy yourselves.